The Shahed drones from Iran killing American forces, hitting U.S. embassies, 11 MQ-9s downed. They're now holding Persian Gulf at bay. We can't move ships through it. And they're able to use low-cost drones, $20,000 to $50,000 each, to kill U.S. forces. The Iranians are figuring out how to bleed us with money and with time. The Russians are helping target U.S. ships and aircraft. We have to take decisive action on that. And instead, we're giving them breaks on oil. If anyone thinks that Vladimir Putin is deterred when we leave Europe, I would love to sell them a bridge.
What you're about to see is a tense moment from a congressional hearing focused on the growing threat of low-cost drone warfare. Lawmakers are raising concerns that relatively inexpensive Iranian drones are being used to challenge some of the most advanced military systems in the world. The exchange highlights fears that modern warfare is changing faster than the Pentagon can adapt. And as you'll hear, the conversation quickly turns toward the broader geopolitical stakes involving Russia, Europe, and America's military strategy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to both of you for being here, and thanks for all you're doing to support the significant effort that's going on in the Middle East. It's hard, as someone who was at the Pentagon and at the CIA, it's hard to miss, I think, two important trends that are happening in this war in the Middle East that are connected, I think, to what you all do. One is just, I feel like the conversation on drones has come home to roost. The Pentagon over many administrations, Democrat and Republican, has had this unbelievably glacially slow process of acquisition. And so even though we know that the drones we build are big and expensive and take 2 years to build and they're $30 million and you can buy them off Amazon, we just haven't been able to get them into the doctrine, into the force in a serious way. And now I feel like, unfortunately, we're paying the price for that.
And this is where the hearing shifts from a simple update into a deeper warning about the future of warfare. The senator is essentially arguing that the United States built its military around large, expensive systems, while adversaries are now relying on cheap, mass-produced drones that can overwhelm defenses. It raises a broader strategic question. Is the U.S. military prepared for a battlefield where low-cost technology can challenge even the most advanced weapons systems?
This is a different chapter in American warfare, with the Shahed drones from Iran killing American forces, hitting U.S. embassies, hitting civilian targets, and I think 11 other countries, evading our air defenses, which are set up for much bigger projectiles. And then we've had, I think, according to press reports, 11 MQ-9s downed in the course of 2 weeks. The Iranians are figuring out how to bleed us with money and with time, to the point where we now have Ukrainian advisors coming from Ukraine to train us, right? Because they're the experts. And it's not for either of you two to respond to, but I just feel like, we need to understand that warfare has fundamentally changed. And if Iran is able to hold us at bay and continue that power projection, we keep hearing that the reason why, or one of the reasons why we went to this war, is because of Iran's power projection. They're now holding the Persian Gulf at bay. We can't move ships through it. And they're able to use low-cost drones, $20,000 to $50,000 each, to kill U.S. forces. So I hope this is in a moment of inflection for the Pentagon, for all of us, that unless we understand how to more quickly get our acquisition system to be responsive, we're gonna continue to lose our soldiers. And I hope that's a major lesson that we're all learning. The second one is the role of Russia and China in supporting Iran. And I know we can't talk about it in an open setting, but there's press reports that the Russians are helping target U.S. ships and aircraft. And I just hope we can all be on the same page. And certainly in Europe, you understand the threat of Russia, that if Russia is helping to kill U.S. forces, we have crossed a Rubicon. We are in another moment, and that we have to take decisive action on that. And instead, we're giving them breaks on oil. They're making a ton of money. And And all the weapons and all the systems that we need for this war are what we would have otherwise given Ukraine to defend themselves. So I just hope we're all on the same page on this committee on a bipartisan basis, that the situation with drones in this war and the situation with Russia in helping to potentially kill American forces and target our weapons and our systems, our ships, they are new. And we need to adjust to that new reality. Can you just tell me in my last minute here, General Grinkovich, I'm concerned that we're going to lose a lot of capabilities out of Europe, and then this administration's never going to put them back in. Can you talk about the importance of capability in Europe?
Yes, Senator, thanks. I think having capability in Europe ultimately provides options for this administration or any administration in the event of a conflict. And, I would highlight that in my opening statement, I talked about one of the missions of U.S. European Command is to serve as a power projection platform. And so it is having capabilities in Europe, munitions in Europe that allow us to help U.S. Africa Command to target terrorists in Africa, or to help U.S. Central Command as they execute Operation Epic Fury. And so, the distances are shorter, it's less expensive, and it's much easier to project power with our network of bases and allies.
I would just say American power is still important, and deterrence is the best option, and the way we do that is with capabilities. If anyone thinks that Vladimir Putin is deterred when we leave Europe, I would love to sell them a bridge. Thanks very much. I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Slotkin. Senator Banks.
General Grinkovich, we hear a lot from Democrats often about how our European allies don't trust us, they don't like us, President Trump has pushed them away. But could you talk for a minute about what President Trump has taught us in Operation Epic Fury about how to bring our European allies on board? It seems like there's a lot of good news here of our European allies coming to the table to help us out.
Yes, Senator, I would tell you that by and large, the vast majority of our European allies, especially at the military level, which is where I engage most often, have been extremely supportive. They've provided access, basing, and overflight that enables General Reed's operations to refuel aircraft coming from the United States, or the great amount of logistics that flow through Europe. It's really been incredible to see. There's certainly some discussions in the press about allies who did not move quick enough, or who did not provide the access that we wanted. But I would tell you that under the tip of that iceberg, there's much more support in Europe for the things that are ongoing in the Middle East right now.
What do we make of it? What do we learn from that?
Sir, I think that the relationships we have with our European allies matter. I think they admire what the U.S. military is able to do. I think many nations, of course, recognize, as several senators have mentioned, the threat that Iran has played over the years. I reflect on my time in Iraq during the defeat ISIS operations in 2019 to 2020, and our European allies were side by side with us. And the biggest threat to us was not actually ISIS; it was Iranian threat network, backed forces that were in Iraq attacking and killing U.S. and European forces. And so I think on the military level, many of us understand that threat and understand the menace that it poses.
Can you give us a quick thumbnail on an update on NATO's strength and what we're seeing from our allies stepping up to the plate to do more?
Yes, Senator, you bet. This coming year, we'll have 5 or 6 allies that will already be at or near the 5% Hague spending commitments. Many other allies, some of the biggest economies in Europe, like Germany, on a rapid pace to achieve 3 or 3.5% spending by the end of the decade. So there's plenty of appetite and plenty of understanding that a more balanced and strong European pillar within the NATO alliance to complement what America has done for so many years is essential, and that it will make for a stronger and more healthy alliance moving forward.
This is really good news, right? And compared to years in the past where the NATO is stronger and has more money and doing more to step up to the plate to support all of our shared causes, right?
I agree, Senator.
One thing that I am concerned about, though, with our NATO allies is their reliance on Chinese technology. that could compromise the security of critical infrastructure that impacts our forces, U.S. forces. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, NATO allies have committed to spending 5% of GDP, as you just discussed, on their security, including 1.5% on defense-related activities. If allies use part of this funding to rip and replace high-tech Chinese technology, how would that contribute to EUCOM's mission?
Senator, we want Chinese technology out of anything related with the defense of the United States or Europe or across the alliance. And so we focus our efforts to help our allies identify where they have Chinese technology in their information networks, particularly their defense information networks. And then, there's Chinese technology and ownership across much of the infrastructure that folks like General Reed would rely on to flow forces either across or into the continent.
So you're seeing progress on this front? Do all of our NATO allies share our concern about Chinese technology?
Sir, they do. Even the allies that I would traditionally put in a category where they didn't pay attention to this, when we highlight it today, they absolutely understand the threat and the risk, and they take action.
And would it likewise be helpful if our allies remove China from satellite ground stations in the Arctic?
Absolutely, Senator.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. I yield back.
Moments like this reveal how quickly the conversation in Washington is shifting around modern warfare. Lawmakers are raising alarms about the strategic impact of inexpensive drones, the role of global alliances, and the possibility of rival powers coordinating against U.S. forces. Whether these concerns translate into policy changes remains to be seen, but the stakes are clearly high. What do you think about this exchange? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoy in-depth breakdowns of major political hearings like this one, make sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe for more analysis.